What's going on, Neon Nation? Welcome back to the Neon Arcade for yet another Cyberpunk 2077 community podcast. This is podcast episode 12, I believe. We've got a very exciting show for you guys today. As you guys can tell by the title and the thumbnail, we have CD Projekt Red's Cyberpunk 2077 community manager, Lilayah, in the house. Lilayah, how are you?
Hello. I'm perfect. I'm with you guys, and it's nice Sunday afternoon or evening.
Awesome. Yeah, it's so great to have you. I'm sure it's been a crazy couple weeks for you with E3 and all that. So we're gonna get into that. Yeah, it should be amazing. As well, we have our usual suspects. We have Subsidian from the Triple S League.
Hello, everybody.
Hello. We also have Asheninity this week.
Hey, how's it going?
LastKnownMeal is actually away this week, so we'll likely see him next week. But yeah, he's just taking care of some things, so we miss him, and he'll be back next week. And last but not least, we have the MadQueenShow.
Greetings, Earthlings.
Okay, so yeah, today I just wanted to make a little bit of a preamble before we start today's show. When it comes to kind of controversial topics, we're not going to be talking too much about that. Our main focus for this podcast episode is Cyberpunk 2077, is the game itself. It's going to be a lot focused on E3 2019, obviously. And yeah, we're going to make use of our time with Lilayah as best as possible. Yeah.
We gotta squeeze her.
We're gonna squeeze
Oh
her.
no, let's...
Don't be scared. Don't be scared. It's all good. But
Okay.
No, what's the other word? The word that someone said in the podcast the other day? Squish?
Squish.
Squish. Yeah.
Oh,
Yes.
squish.
Yes. I forgot what that meant though.
Me
It
neither.
has more than one meaning.
It's
more than one meaning.
It's a platonic crush.
Ah, yes.
Ah.
I remember.
Yeah, we all have a platonic crush on Lilayah, so we're going to squish
Aw.
her.
So did anyone
Just
need...
don't squish too hard.
Oh.
No, softly, gently, and with love.
Does anyone mind if I just jump in with the first question?
Yeah, go
I'm
ahead, sure.
Curious, Lilayah, like I know you're a very important person in the CD Projekt Red community. I mean, you're the community manager, I believe is your title.
Yeah.
So what is your actual job? I mean, I know you're very active on social media, in the Discords, in the forums, things like that. So what is your actual job description or your day-to-day job with CD Projekt actually look like?
It's actually my job and my friend's job that work with me as a fellow community managers is to pretty much talk with everyone around on the social media. So Facebook, Twitter, Discord, forums, Reddit, and we also create some news. So everything you see on our website is created by us. And, all the fun activities during events, like, for example, last year's creating some contests for the community to make sure that they can do fun stuff with us.
Awesome.
That's awesome. How long have you been with CD Projekt?
In March, it will be 5 years.
Oh, wow.
And as a community manager, 2 years.
So how have you enjoyed the change from the primarily the Witcher kind of like focus to the more futuristic cyberpunkish world? Has that been a fun change, or has it been very different, or how have you taken it?
So when I joined the company, I wasn't really into cyberpunk at all. Mainly because I'm not really a fan of sci-fi, like Star Wars or Star Trek and whatnot. It's just not for me at all. I'm more fantasy person. So I was like into Witcher so much, even though I didn't read the books.
Heresy.
But I was leaving the game in previous like Witcher 1, Witcher 2, and then Witcher 3. I knew I just have to be part of it. So yeah, once Witcher was done, I was thinking, okay, so what's next? And obviously Gwent came up. And I was still part of our tech support crew and doing like a lot of QA testing, just pretty much playing Gwent every day to see what's what. And then, like, you know, obviously studio was focusing more on cyberpunk, and I was like, okay, I have to know more about that. And the more I was talking with devs, the more I was talking with my friends from other departments, like quest designers or character creators, I was actually falling more and more in love with the universe. And then obviously I started to read like everything about Cyberpunk 2020, and yeah, it was love from the first sight, I could say.
Well, I believe that maybe it's a little soon to make this question, because I know it is the question that everybody wants to know about the game. And I am not sure if you're going to have the information regarding this specific question, but yes, voicing the concerns of everybody that is anticipating this game. Can we romance Keanu Reeves?
I won't
Ooh.
spoil that for you.
Ooh.
Oh, she wasn't talking about in the game. She meant for real. I'm pretty sure.
Jumping right in
mean,
with the juicy ones.
If we could romance Keanu Reeves in real life, trust me, I would be first in the line.
Shit, you're right with this. I cannot compete on that.
And you squish Keanu Reeves.
And
But
in game, this has been asked a lot of times, and I'm totally unaware of what has been the official answer regarding this. Can we romance Keanu, Jody Silverhand in the game?
Johnny is really important character in Cyberpunk 2077, and because of his role, I really don't want to spoil that for you guys. So you just need to wait for the game to launch, and well, try just.
Oh, I think we lost her.
Did she drop
I think
out?
we lost her.
Shit, talking about this very specific important subject that I wanted to know about. But she's right. This is actually a spoiler, I believe.
The CD Projekt Red team netrunners hit her offline, so she wouldn't spoil anything.
Yes, this is always Melitech. I know. It's always Melitech. They just can't stand that we're sponsored by Arasaka.
Right?
She's not back. Well, I'm so sorry, people on the chat and viewing and hearing that it seems that Lilayah is having some technical issues, but don't worry.
We'll get her back in here. So how's Chad doing?
All right.
She will be back so shortly, as soon as we can sort them out.
Mm-hmm. Would this
because this is okay. Thank you very much, by the way, Lilayah, if you're hearing this in spite of your technical problems, because usually I am the one who screws things technically during the stream. So this time it hasn't been me. Yes, I feel happy.
Feels good now.
Is it working now?
Oh, it's working.
Yes.
You're back.
Ah.
Epic.
Okay, let's go back to the
We're
subject of having sex with romancing Johnny Silverhand.
Oh, yeah, we all knew what you meant, MadQueen.
Yeah, so what I was saying is that Johnny is really important character in Cyberpunk 2077, and I really, really don't want to spoil that. So you just need to wait for the game to drop and see what's happening there.
And he came on about a year
So
ago.
well,
correct?
we could also see that the music has taken a very different direction than what we saw in the past trailer and in the past gameplay. Actually, I must confess, a direction that I totally adore. I won't deny that. So what are your plans on releasing the soundtrack and releasing also who is collaborating in the soundtrack? Because on IMDb page, there's only 2 people credited for the soundtrack, one being Martin Chubovic and the other one, Raynan Melissa. And people would like to know who is collaborating with the soundtrack in the game.
So for now, our main composer is obviously Martin Przybyłowicz. He's doing tremendous work when it comes to our soundtrack, and yeah, it took completely different direction that we shown. Well, in the first teaser trailer with Archive and Bullets, and then last year's with the first version of Chipping In. When I talked with Martin, he said that he pretty much wants everyone who plays the game to feel this kind of emotion, to, you know, get up and feel like he or she has to just smash something. This should be like music of Cyberpunk, and he's trying to make it work like that.
Yes, I
Um,
totally agree with him on that.
and
We
he was giving us a lot of like examples, like for example Rage Against the Machine, that this music in Cyberpunk should make you feel like listening to Rage Against the Machine should feel like,
And is that why?
which is totally fine.
Yeah. Is
Well,
that why?
yes, the new Chipping In totally sounds like the ending song for the Matrix, the Rage Against the Machine song "Wake Up." It sounds like that. How's the band called?
We are
I don't
cooperating
remember.
with Refuse.
Yeah, Diffuse. That was the name of the
Yes.
band.
So
And
this
yes,
is
please go on.
this is our first band that we are cooperating with when it comes to Cyberpunk 2077 soundtrack.
So are you going to somehow keep the rights of the songs? Because this is something that we all people that are on YouTube, on Twitch, we are concerned about when it comes to doing gameplays of Cyberpunk 2077. Because I don't know if you're aware of that, but with other games, when they are using licensed music, like is for instance the case of Fallout 4, we have a lot of copyright troubles when doing this game on YouTube or on Twitch. So how are your plans? What are your plans on managing these copyright things on the music?
So pretty much Refused that is working with us, they are making music with us together. So it won't be their music as like something they already released or something. It will be like as Refused. It will be like a samurai band making the music. So
Oh,
pretty
that's
much
fantastic.
everything that you'll hear in a game, we have the rights to that, including like I don't know, images or music, gameplay, whatever you want to call it. And because we have this this policy that we want community to make stuff with our game, whether it's like a reaction video or their gameplay playthroughs and sharing with other people, like or how to make specific trophy and whatnot, you guys can totally do it, and we will obviously not take it down unless it will be like going to make you some money, and that is something we just have to talk with each other, right? So we are like open to hear like, yes, I would like to do this and this for money, and then we just contact you with the right people.
So well, you are continuing having exact same policies you had for The Witcher 3, basically.
Exactly.
Yes.
Is it on that sort of note? Is there any talk of having some kind of a nudity filter just for people who are creating on YouTube and Twitch? Because sometimes, I mean, during a live stream, if you don't know what's coming, then you might wind up showing something that's not allowed on the stream. I was just wondering if there was any discussion about that at the studio.
Not yet. I mean, we're still obviously developing the game, so those kind of things might happen once we're done with everything and we decide to apply such a thing. But from my personal experience, when I play a game like that, for example, like I did that with Witcher, what I did is just to pretty much, post that the game is 18 plus on a Twitch, and then you should be like pretty much good to go.
Right.
Yes, on Twitch, but that on YouTube is not a thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, but like we
the-
know about that issue with like the nudity filter. Right now there is no such a thing in development, but it's something we definitely keep in mind.
It's really easy to add for modders though. They just make a giant like little black box and they just put it over top of the certain area on the body.
Yes, but it would be lovely if it could be done with a little bit of more of style, like like a glitch, something like that, more cyberpunkish to not break immersion.
I'm sure I'm sure there's somebody will create that kind of a mod like pretty early on. So which brings me to a quick question, which you probably can't answer because I haven't seen anything updated on this. But do you have anything that you share as far as official or unofficial modding goes?
Well, we keep that in mind. It's somewhere on our development list that there is a huge mod community for like our previous games, and obviously there's huge interest in Cyberpunk. But right now we actually want to make a game, and then we'll think about that.
Yeah, what I normally try and point out is like this stuff never comes out immediately following the release. It's always usually about a year down the road where or usually typically what a lot of companies do is it's at the end of the DLC or expansion development. So
it is on the list.
That's good to know. That is very good to know, because that being on the list is way better than it not being on the list or being off of a current consideration. So that's good. That's good. Awesome.
Yep. Hey, so Ultimate Rogue in the chat is saying, give us the option to play without clothes. And I just want to let everybody know, if you're not aware of this, you already have that option. I mean, if you want to sit naked in front of your computer, I mean, by all means, you know, there's nothing in the game that's preventing you from doing that.
Well, it is kind of hot, right?
Well, yeah, by the date that the game is going to be released, it's going to be hot again. I have a question that I'm very curious about, is how the reactions of the community to what we saw at E3 and the reveal of Keanu Reeves. How was this left at the studio?
Well, I wasn't here in Warsaw during E3, but we had like our internal. I wouldn't call it a party, but like we had a gathering that everyone just watched E3 together, and everyone was super excited. You know, it was very emotional for people here in the studio. For some, obviously, it was like, I wouldn't say a work day, but of course we had to launch all the communication, right? Even for me, like I was sitting during the conference, living the moment of the, you know, seeing the trailer and then Keanu Reeves' appearance, and then pretty much everything else I was doing was just like answering people on Twitter and Facebook, because the comments were like super amazing. It was super excited to see that you guys are so passionate about the game and you actually enjoyed it, because I, you know, with hand of my heart, I was super scared going to E3 if everyone will actually enjoy what we want to see.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna ask. Like, what was kind of the reception during E3? Because I remember last year you guys had those feedback forms after the private demos or whatever that people could fill out to, you know, put their pros and cons. What was kind of the feedback when it comes to that? What were like some of the standout things that you were seeing? If you can speak on that, maybe.
Well, seeing the entire Xbox conference standing out, like, you know, that was just something that made many people from our studio cry. Like I was sitting almost right next to Holly, and she was actually in tears, saying, you know, oh, everyone's standing and clapping and, you know, cheering for everyone. I was just like, my hands were super shaky. And, you know, all the hugs that we get, because like obviously we were wearing like Cyberpunk t-shirts and people were sitting around us and, you know, giving us high fives, saying like, you know, great job, guys. It was super heartwarming.
That's amazing.
And that's the funniest part about the reveal, because there were people like me that didn't recognize Keanu Reeves as Johnny Silverhand because he's not blonde.
Yeah, Keanu is not blonde, that's for sure. But what's happening with Johnny is that we will obviously have that explained in the game. But let me just say that the chip was going from hand to hand, and that could do something to the chip. That's why Johnny might not be blonde.
Ooh.
So there's actually an explanation.
The next 3 months, everybody on the internet is going to be dissecting that statement now.
Oh boy,
that is an amazing little tidbit of news. Oh my goodness, that is dangerous to put in my hands, Lily. Why you do this?
You're gonna clip that out. We'll have to play that on our next podcast.
Is it going to be discussed in Cyberpunk Red? Because what's your relation with Cyberpunk Red? Are you going to be there?
I don't know. You would have to ask Mike and Jay for that piece of information. I know, obviously, because Red and 2077 is in the same timeline, and we work really closely with Mike when it comes to creating the story. I don't know if it will be explained what happened to Johnny and what's happening on those lines, but from game perspective, we will try to explain everything what happened to Johnny that wasn't, for example, said in Red, or like what is our theory on what actually is happening right now in Night City.
Yes, because Little Bird told me that you were in Cyberpunk Red.
Who told you that?
A
Who
little
told you that,
bit.
and why I don't know that?
No, yes, but I was going to ask you if that's true, because it may not be a thing. I don't really know. That's why I wanted to ask you.
I don't know.
You don't know. Well, I've heard on Twitter, Jay from Talsorian Games. For those of you who don't know, Talsorian Games are the creators of the Cyberpunk pen and paper game, and they have a very interesting Twitter at Talsorian Games. Where they give little pieces of lore, and it seems that they're going to soon start to give some of the new lore that we're going to see in Cyberpunk Red. And he was making jokes about wanting to include part of the community and part of the people that were working on the game inside Cyberpunk Red as a character. And that will be something very interesting to see.
I mean, for sure, there are some people that work even closer than me with Mike and with the entire Tossarian crew. Like Patrick Mills, who is our one of the quest designers. So big shout out to Patrick, because he's a super great guy, and working with him is just pure joy. Maybe Patrick will be in the Red. Who knows?
So how often does our Talsorian come up and kind of see how things are progressing at the studio? Is it like once a month or once every couple months, or is it often? Or
I've seen Mike in a studio at least twice, and that was before I actually officially met. But normally, because traveling from US to Poland and going back home is exhausting, and I experienced that recently. That the jet lag is just horrible. I do not recommend.
Right.
I wanted to thank the super chat. Sorry for interrupting you. Carrion Soul, thank you very much. You are very generous.
PROJEKT, thank you for that one.
As I said before, we are not going to comment on any kind of controversial subject because we have the utmost respect for the Project Red and for the people. And we don't believe that having a guest as Lilayah today is the moment to discuss any kind of subjects revolving around this. Mm-hmm. So let's go again to the part of how Cyberpunk Red is going to explain the things and is going to tie Cyberpunk 2020 with Cyberpunk 2077. Because the hair of Johnny Silverhand.
I mean, obviously, I don't know the story about Cyberpunk Red, like what's exactly inside and what it will be about. At least not yet. I know what will be about 2077, but I cannot really talk about that just yet. But yeah, we are working really closely with Mike when it comes to story, when it comes to quests. And even if Mike and his crew is not in our studio, we always communicate via emails or other communicators, just making sure that our visions are aligned and, both sides are happy with the results, because this is what we want. We want to make sure that Mike is happy with our vision, and we also want our vision to be something extraordinary.
And so how much of it is CD Projekt Red's vision versus staying completely 100% true to Mike Pondsmith's vision? Are you guys readapting a lot of things, or is it kind of 50-50, or is it straight ports here and there?
I would say that it's more like 75% of our vision, and just Mike confirming if that's okay or if that would happen if something, X would. Right.
Right.
It's just a matter because like Mike did 2020, and other cyberpunks now is doing Red, which is like I think 2040 or something like that. So we are still a bit back. There is a huge gap between Red and 2077.
Right.
So there's still like most of that is our vision, with just Mike making sure it's fine to use.
And I guess you could see that in the readaptation of the Voodoo Boys there, because in 2020 they're a little bit different, right? So it's cool to see that adaptation of those characters.
But it's really challenging to make sure that stuff are like done properly and actually works and is like how it would be in 2077.
Right. So what is your personal kind of favorite thing that you've seen from the game so far? Just
Net running.
Net running? Yeah.
That's my favorite thing, and I will say that till the very, very end, that it's actually net running and everything that we do around the net.
Right. So it's more
Now
of a.
we
Go ahead.
yeah,
Go ahead, sir.
we haven't seen this in gameplay yet, correct?
We saw it on the past gameplay, but it was repeated that it was a work in progress. So it sounded like it was going to be changed drastically from what we saw.
There was that ice bath sequence in the end of the gameplay sneak peek.
Yes, there was the ice bath. There was I don't know how many of you guys seen or like was with us during IFRIP during the demo presentations, either on public or on business. But for example, there is the use of nanowires that you can hack people from distance. You don't have to just sneak around them anymore. You just can be in a safe position and then just like whip it and then you hack it. So for example, that there is obviously hacking like next to you ports to go to like hack the cameras or make sure to you can hack people around you without using nanowires or any other connection.
So why the eyes? Because well, obviously we all have our theories around it, but why the eyes in the net running?
I don't know. It just feels cool.
I think.
Well, because to me it sounds like a reference to Rage Badmos, but
I think the team was saying earlier that your body turns into a CPU and it kind of overheats. So to keep it from overheating, you step into the ice bath. I think that's what they last said. I don't know if that's changed, but.
I mean, you can see, for example, Brigitte and T-Bug that those two are like super skilled netrunners and they're wearing netrunners. It's pretty much, and like sometimes you can see that they're not wearing any shoes as well. It's pretty much just about the eyes and making sure that you are just not overheating yourself.
So we saw we saw descriptions because we didn't see the gameplay yet. That both obviously Johnny Silverhand, that was greatly introduced, and also Al Cunningham is going to be in the game. Are there any other important characters of the lore that are going to be there and you can talk about?
I don't really want to spoil like
You just want to hear Riche Bartmoss.
Sorry?
I said you just want to hear about Riche Bartmoss, don't you?
Yes, yes, I do.
She's obsessed. She's a little bit obsessed.
Everybody knows where I'm coming to when I talk about this. Yes, sorry. Please go on. I'm going to my corner to cry.
Don't cry. But I think from what I know so far, obviously things we are still in development, so things still change. Not drastically, but like we still add things, we still remove things, but the vision of the game is more or less. There are like several huge surprises, I'd say, waiting for everyone, and I don't want to spoil that for you because this is exactly like it was with The Witcher, right? You played The Witcher, and you have to find Ciri, and then you were just spending almost like, I don't know, half of the game looking for her. But the moment you actually find her, if that would be spoiled, that wouldn't have the same impact on players. And I think the same thing will happen with Cyberpunk, though, you know. We don't want to spoil that for you because some of those moments will be truly breathtaking. And you know, that would be just I would say the great disappointment if we would say everything and, you know, don't leave anything for you.
Yeah.
But there is one thing that you actually need to at least a little bit to explain, which is the law of the game. And I was wondering if you had plans in communication to explain to the people that are interested in the game, but they don't have the knowledge on the pen and paper game. Are you going to make a communication effort to explain the law?
Yes, we will be covering a lot of those lore bits to the community that either doesn't know anything about the game and want to learn more, or those that knows just a bit, but you know, they're craving for the knowledge. And obviously we will still have something prepared for like hardcore fans like you guys that pretty much know Cyberpunk inside out.
Nice.
And that will happen during the, you know, the awaiting time for the game to drop, but also we'll have like super cool stuff in the game exploring the world, because I don't know, maybe someone will hear from friends or like, I don't know, significant others that, you know, there's this cool game and, you know, you should play, and miss everything that, you know, was posted on our social media so far.
Is the fact that you can kind of play non-lethally now one of the bigger changes, or is there how many kind of quote unquote big changes have you made since last year, or was that kind of, is it maybe like one or two things here and there?
I mean, the gaming development itself is like always really subjective when it comes to what's big, what's not.
Sure.
So, for example, if you change like a material of the clothing on one character, for me that can be like small, right? Because
Mhm.
this is just a jacket. But for someone who spends days to make that jacket, will be obviously like huge change. So, in terms of that, yes, we added the non-lethal path as one of the playthroughs based on the feedback from the community that we received, or like after last year's demo. But to actually see what changed the most, I think you just need to wait for PAX, see the demo, the new version of the demo, and compare those two. Like what you think was the biggest change for you, and what didn't change at all.
Now,
Fair
quick
enough.
question or quick clarification on that, because there's been a little bit. It was reported a little bit weird by a few people. So is it a 100% non-lethal path for all scenarios, or is it a and does that include like cinematics or key story points, and does that also include like companion kills? Like, can you play through the entire game, cinematics and all, without having a single body count?
It is possible for players to finish the game without killing anyone. You will pretty much just hurt them instead of killing. And sometimes you can just, you know, walk out of the fight, or like talk yourself through the fight.
Mm-hmm. So does that include various like cinematic like choice events where it's
Yeah.
like you have to make a choice?
Yeah,
And those will
Okay.
obviously have an effect on the narrative, right? So
correct.
cool.
There is a question here on the chat that I am so sorry because I lost the person who did that. They are discussing about the photo mode in the game, because they said that on the past quote-unquote version of the game that we saw, photo mode was a thing, but it seems that now is like discussed. Is photo mode a thing? It's not a thing?
No. Photo mode is still a thing. We are still working on it. It's just right now it's too early to say how exactly will it work, but we want to have it.
So can you give us some more information on that, or is like super secret? We will find out.
Personally, I don't even know how it exactly will work. No, I'm not joking. We've been doing some research for photo mode, and we based feedback on like very many games. And what devs will actually do with this, I guess we all have to just wait.
Well, I remember some time ago, almost a year ago, we had this information from a producer of the game. And the information was that the game was playable from the beginning to the end, the main story, and then you were working on the second request. But I am confused because counting the time that Martin Iwinski said that Keanu Reeves was in the project, when this was said, Keanu Reeves was already in the project. So I'm a little confused about the progression of the game and what impact did Johnny Silverhand and the inclusion of Johnny Silverhand as a very important character had in the main story of the game.
I mean, Johnny was always part of the game. He was always, part of the huge plan. And that's it pretty much. Like the game, like from the game can be playable from beginning to end at the very early stages. It's just, you have those blocks from the quests, and you have like the simple line or like quest tree that you can go, but it didn't mean that the game is actually you can just turn it on and play the game like you would play during the release, right? It's a bit different kind of playing from the beginning till the end. It's more like the story is done. This is how we want this to happen. Of course, things can still change. And well, they did. It's just, some cornerstones are already.
So when we saw the gameplay past year and there was this option in the background of choosing your childhood hero, at this point you already had Keanu Reeves in.
I cannot tell you that.
Oh, then we're going to talk about something you can tell, because there are a lot of questions in the comments, and one question is, can we customize cars?
Customize cars. Well, you will be able to have a car or a motorbike. If you can customize it, would you like to have customized car?
Well, I really don't like cars, but there's a lot of people who do, so I believe that the general consensus is yes. More options are always better than less.
The more that is customizable in the game, I'm sure I'm sure the game designers are well aware of this, but I mean, customization in games is big.
Mm-hmm. I've seen a lot of comments.
We've had people asking, can you customize your apartment? How much can you customize and decorate it? Can you customize your car? Can you customize? Now we know there's going to be heavy customization on the person, like on your character. But are there any other areas of the game that you know of that will have big customization options?
Well, you will be able to customize your weapons by using mods, for example. So it will have, let's say, less sound when you shoot, right? It also goes with skills and perks, but this is one of the areas you will be able to customize. When it comes to apartments, no, you won't be able to customize your apartment. As for the car, it's still unclear at this point, because this is actually something that keeps changing.
And is that something you guys are looking towards the community to kind of determine, or is that more of an internal kind of decision you guys have to make?
It's more like internal decision.
Okay.
I imagine that takes a ton of time and
lots
resources
of
to develop that. And I mean, when you look at how massive this game is, but on that note though, like, are there plans for beyond, after release to roll out additional changes and things for us to do? Like, could things like that be added in, say, after the fact, a few months after release or a year after release or anything like that?
I mean, we've done that with The Witcher, right? With the DLCs that we added some extra clothes for, like Yennefer, for example, Triss, or we added additional quests, or for example, the New Game Plus that we didn't really plan to add before. So those things definitely might change. But if it will change, it's really too early to say, because right now we actually have to make the game and see what's, what we can add, and then we obviously read every feedback that we receive from community, either on forums or either social media channels, and we make a list of those things that what could happen and would be great to have, or like that might be tricky to do, but let's see if we actually can do it.
So let me see if I've got that straight. You're a AAA developer, and you're less than a year away from release, and your focus is actually making the game. This is
That's insanity.
This sounds insane.
I know, right?
This is bizarre. This is like my brain is having trouble comprehending this.
So when you're
quick break to thank a couple of the super chats before they go away, because they've been sitting here for a while. So Mr. Legend, thank you for the pizza. It's $10. We thank you very, very much. And also for Lit, he has a quick question, which we probably can't read that one. And then Barwellon as well. I can never say that name correctly. Madqueen, how do you pronounce that again?
Marvelon?
Yes, that one. Thank you so much. All right, sorry. Ash, back to you.
Oh, I was done. I was just marveling at the fact that the focus is actually making the game.
Well, then I have another
not like
question.
saying, what can we sell to? you're not like planning, what can we sell to players 3 months after release right now. You're actually like, let's make this game and let's make it good. It's fantastic, and you can tell I'm being sarcastic, but like we as a community, we love that about CD Projekt, and so keep it up.
I was going to make a joke. Sorry, go on.
Go on.
I was going to make a joke. Well, people on the chat, when Lilayah says that they want to surprise us, they are not talking about surprise mechanics, okay?
Yes.
There are no surprise mechanics in this game, not the type that we have in mind when we say surprise mechanics right now.
Yes. Another quick question from the chat is anything that you can tell us about any possible mini games? Are we going to have, especially for me, are we going to have a drinking mini game, dancing mini game, or a card game, or kind of like some mini game that you might do in a bar or a club or something like that? Is there going to be any of those types of mini games, or have those been passed on at the moment? Especially like thinking about Gwent and that impact on like The Witcher, especially because that was really, really good.
So I think that's already confirmed that we will have a mini hacking game from the E3. So there will be for sure something like that. And what I want to actually say about that is to make sure that you don't rush those mini games. That's the only hint I will leave, that don't rush those, because they're like super, super cool, and I think a lot of people will enjoy it. But when it comes to like another mini games, of course, we have some activities in mind for those that will be just roaming through the city and so on. We'll have street racing, for example, as one of those. You will be able to go to shooting range and level up your shooting skills. That's another thing. And I think the rest I will just leave you to find out.
So no dancing on the top of the bar. Darn. That's confirmed. That's confirmed.
Just wait for the mods. I'm hoping for a gaming arcade where you can actually use your hacking skills to cheat at the game. That would be fun.
There's another question in the comments that several people have done so far regarding how far can you go with your cyber implants and the implementation of cyber psychosis.
So
because
there won't be cyber psychosis for you as V. It's pretty much when you go cyber psycho, that's essentially game over. And why would we do that to you? Like, why would we just end right there?
Yes, but
Um,
cyber psychosis is a degradation. What happens in the two last levels of empathy, where you are not a cyber psycho, but you are very close?
it's pretty much there will be a limit of the cyberware that you can put to yourself. I don't know yet how the whole humanity will still work, because we are still adjusting those levels. But there will be cap for the cyberware that you can put in you, and there will be no cyber psychosis for you as V. But you never know; maybe you will actually see someone going cyber psycho.
Well,
Can you have cyberware removed
Yes.
and then replace it with something else?
Yes.
Oh, cool. Okay.
And
You just have to go to the Reaper dock.
are there unique animations for something like that? For the removal and installation of each type of cyberware, or is it kind of...
That's still a bit too early.
Okay.
Because there is a lot of stuff happening right now. But all the meaningful, I'd say, activities that you do, unique and meaningful, they will have their own animation. Like something that is repeatable, that won't, probably.
Well, another of the questions that people are making on the comments repeatedly is about the size of the map and these new parts of the map that were recently revealed.
So when it comes to map size, because we got that question quite often, if the game will be bigger than Witcher 3. Again, it's subjective, because the way it worked in The Witcher, it was, let's say, flat, right? You only could go, straight forward or go backwards to different city. In here, in Night City, you will be able to explore some buildings that have. So in terms of that, it might be bigger, it might be smaller. Depends how you guys perceive that. But exactly how much square kilometers it has, it's too early, because nobody counted that yet.
How significant is the new area that we just found out about, the Badlands? Is that a big part of the world, or is that just kind of just the extremities of the city?
It's just extremities of the city, and I haven't personally seen the entire of the zone just yet. So I cannot really say if it's big or bigger or smaller than any district in Night City.
Black Tumber, thank you very much for your super chat. You're very generous. And the question that they're asking, how close will be the Xbox One, PS4 Pro versions graphically to the PC version? So are there graphical differences between the PC version and the consoles version of the game?
We are not done with the optimization yet, so you just have to wait till we're actually done with. And, in the same time, I know that this question, because I've seen the chat. A lot of people ask about the PC spec. It will be closer to the release, hopefully beginning of the 2020. So not anytime soon. It's pretty much because we want to optimize the game till the very last moment we can. So that might take some extra time.
Shenagos, thank you very much for your support. You're very generous. Another question is, will there be a demo available prior to the full release for people to try the game?
No. No, you'll be able to watch the demo really soon, at the end of August during. But it's pretty much same story. With The Witcher, we didn't like release it publicly to play, because it's a single player game, and we work on those moments to the very, very last moment, and it's pretty much this real story from The Witcher 3, because I've been working already there before the release, and I was talking with everyone during like 2 days before the release, 3 days before. are you happy? We are like super close to launch the game, and people were like, yes, we're happy, but if we could have one more day to fix that or to add that or correct this, it would be even better. So this is what happens with Cyberpunk. We'll work to the very last moment we can to make sure that the game is as good as it could be.
So we can expect a patch for the day zero.
I mean, it happened with The Witcher, and I'm pretty sure it can happen with Cyberpunk as well.
So in relation to kind of the marketing element of it, is this kind of where you guys are going to start picking up the marketing? Or is it kind of going to be like a lull like last year after E3? Is there going to be kind of a dead zone and then PAX West, and then maybe after that you guys ramp up your marketing, or how is that going to work? Or do you have that planned?
We already have everything planned for a good while. But once, because like the whole marketing campaign obviously is already in motion with the pre-orders, with the release date.
Right.
Right now we don't really want to go side. So we will be communicating things. So we obviously will go to events with the community. We'll be talking with you guys, with the media, with press. But if there will be like super, I don't know, crucial moment, I think that will be just before the release, when everything will go super ham. But we don't want to do what we did last year, with going super silent. This time it's not the case.
Sure.
We
Well, I
have
think-
another super chat. Ishisake, thank you very much. You are very generous. And he goes, the new question of the super chat: can we dual wield guns in the game? I asked this to Miles Toast, but he wasn't sure.
I'm not sure either. I'm super sorry, but like if you can send me, I don't know, a tweet or a message, and we can talk during like, if that would be possible.
Well, you put questions on the Tumblr. Sorry.
That too, and I don't know. Maybe there will be another. AMA on Tumblr. Who knows? I know girls are super happy with Tumblr. How it worked. We had amazing amounts of questions there, and we were happy. So maybe it will happen again anytime soon.
Another quick question from the community is, from Barlowan. How will this change our life, gamers, and many more? It was a little weirdly. And Russ Hunt is wondering if we can get any hints for the current ARG that's going on. I think they're stuck at a password.
I mean, I know you're being watched, and I've been watching you guys as well. How you try to solve the ARG, but you were told to wait for more. So that wasn't a hint. It was pretty much I don't know. I don't like the word order. But yeah, just wait for more. I know things are going to happen, and you will for sure see that. As for the other question, if the game will change gamers, well, Witcher 3 broke me. Like, I couldn't find another game that was so good on so many levels. That I had, this I don't know, feeling that nothing is good enough anymore. And because we want to make players happy with the game, and we want them to to feel that the time invested playing Cyberpunk will be well spent, because time is money, right?
Mm-hmm.
We will try to make everything we possibly can to make it worthwhile, and I hope that will change your life. Gaming is not really a bad thing, and it helps you develop some additional skills.
You're going to be guessing on our regular podcast, talking about that exact thing, about what gaming can teach you in other respects, which will not be directly related to anything cyberpunky. But as far as having a game that broke you from being able to find any other good game. Have you played this game called Minesweeper? It's really, really good.
I don't even want to know how many times I've been super tilted I couldn't do it.
Yeah.
We have sorry. We have another super chat from Black Timber. Thank you very much. How big of an influence was Blade Runner on Cyberpunk 2077, and will there be Easter eggs in the game referencing that movie?
I mean, we love Easter eggs. So if there will be any, we will let you to find them, because that would be super bad if we would just say, oh, there is an Easter egg about this or that. It would just take all the fun out of it.
I have a question about it, because I've heard that in development, usually Easter eggs are things that the developer that is working in this particular piece just invents. They are not always something that is thought, for the game, like for the whole game. Like we're going to put this here and this there, and sometimes just people that are working in a specific part think about putting an Easter egg there. Is that true?
Oh, Easter eggs sometimes. I mean, I can only say about our company, right? I don't know how other studios are doing their Easter eggs, but for us, every quest designer sometimes try to sneak something into the game that's either something close to his heart or her heart, or something they enjoyed, or just like internal joke. Like something nice to pretty much spot. Like we had a lot of Easter eggs, a lot of hidden messages on pretty much, I wouldn't say most, but a lot of our assets, and not just Cyberpunk related, but also Witcher. And it's super cool to see how community finds them. But when it comes to actually putting those, it's pretty much what specific person wants to put. It's usually either a reference to something that they enjoyed either playing, doing, or just, again, internal joke, and hoping that people actually catch it.
Right. We have quite a few super chats here, so I just want to get these before they disappear from our screens. From our Russian, it looks like Russian friend. I can't read your name. I apologize. But thank you for the message, the super chat. Can we customize body type, body size, how fat and or muscular V is?
You will be able to customize body types, but to what extent is a bit too early to say.
Okay.
That's a really good question. I really I'm looking forward to seeing exactly how far we can go with anything. So that's really good.
Brotech is asking, can you tell something about when the GOG2 beta will start? The GOG Galaxy 2.0, I guess.
Yeah,
Soon.
That's a great one.
Soon. Oh boy. We love that word from you guys. We love it when you tell us soon.
When it's ready.
Right. When it's ready. Yeah.
But jokes aside, I know there is like a wave of alpha invites already started for the GOG 2.0, the Galaxy 2.0. So my prediction is actually happening soon, like the whole beta. I don't know, because I'm not part of GOG team, but I've been trying to get the information for myself as well. So all I can say is soon.
All right, and then another super chat from Lit here. Will each personality you play have its own animated, etc. unicorn, like Johnny Silverhand is for Samurai Rocker Boy? I don't fully understand the question.
I'm not sure if I understand the question.
I don't understand it either.
I don't. I thought that was some kind of obscure cyberpunky thing, but I think
perhaps.
Lit, if you want to rephrase that and drop that in the chat, then we can potentially
we'll
ask
keep
that.
an eye out for that. Lit also asks about modding. We've touched on that already a little bit, but that's something you're looking at for potentially down the road. So,
are there going to be like homages to the cyberpunk genre in general that we've kind of seen already? Like we've seen the Akira styled bike, and then we've seen kind of the Johnny Mnemonic whip kind of deal. Is there going to be things other than Easter eggs that are kind of a callback to the cyberpunk greats of the past?
Something like that is always tricky to put in a game. So my guess is pretty much just as good as yours. That it will be just Easter egg, mainly because we don't want to get into legal trouble.
Right.
Inspiration is a very dangerous field when it comes to any kind of development, not just games, but like movies or books or art itself. So that's tricky. More or less like like a Easter egg. That would be my guess.
Okay, fair enough. Fair enough. Were there any other questions in the chat that we hadn't kind of addressed? Will V's gender have any influence on the game and story? Different reactions from NPCs?
Yes, actually, that's something. For example, if you will play female V, some of the people might actually respond to you differently if you would play a male, a mix. But that won't be happening like 100% on every single character, right?
Right.
So it might happen a few times here and there, but it won't be like this NPC will, always react to you differently based on your.
Mm-hmm. Okay, Lit has clarified the question. Thank you for doing that. So the question is, will there be other celebrities playing Morgan Blackhand and Saburo Arasaka? And so I think this comes from the idea that there was, Johnny Silverhand was one of your childhood heroes you could pick, at least in the version of the gameplay that we saw 9 months ago-ish. Which, if I understand, that's been removed in the current version of the character creator. Correct me if I'm wrong about that. But so I had this question too initially was, would we see, instead of seeing Keanu / Johnny Silverhand, if you picked a different childhood hero, would you see a different character? I think that's the question.
Well, that's scrapped, so that won't be in the game anymore. If there will be any other celebrities, I guess you just need to find out. I cannot spoil everything or like say everything, but again, there's plenty things to find in a game.
Yeah,
just piggybacking
that you might enjoy.
Sorry, just piggybacking on that. The life path offers one of the options is nomad, correct? And then we have the Badlands as well. Do the nomads play a larger role in 2077 than maybe we initially thought?
Yes. Nomads will be actually really important, and one of the paths that you can pick is a nomad path.
Cool.
We got a few people talking or asking questions about the romance options and how that work and how the involved those are, and if it's just kind of, well, you can have a one-night stand with somebody, or if it can actually develop into more of a relationship, and you can, you have this person hanging around in your apartment or doing things with them. Can you talk about that at all?
So yeah, romance is a big part of the gameplay itself. So you will be able to have a romance relationship with other characters. You can have either meaningful or just one night stands. That's totally up to you. Whatever you choose. Was also like I would say really cool that we didn't do it before in The Witcher. Is that your V doesn't have already predefined sexuality, so you are the one creating your own sexuality, right? So if you want to be heterosexual, you can go for it. If you want to be bisexual, sure, that's also an option. Or if you want to be homosexual, that's cool too. However, NPCs that you will bump into, they have predefined sexuality. So you just need to make sure that you pick the right dialogue choices, and then see what happens.
So I just because this is a pet peeve of mine in a previous game that we shall leave unnamed, where the options were not always very clear. That you were about to head off to the back room for for a roll in the hay. I remember very distinctly speaking as I think it was playing as a dwarf male. Was just kind of having a random conversation with a guy, and he was like, "Oh, this really sad thing happened to me," and my response was like, jump off a cliff or like, "Aw, that's too bad." And when I selected "Aw, that's too bad," immediately woke up the next morning next to him and going, I don't think I meant to do that. So is it really clear, and is it like, can we really set that up? And also kind of a quick follow up on that one is if we see a random NPC, is there any way we can hit on random NPCs, or is that kind of happen just inside the confines of like a bar or something?
I mean, we will have prostitutes for that.
Oh,
So,
sweet.
so
I mean,
you can,
that's good.
you can hit them up for a quickie. But when it comes to dialogue choices, one hint from me: just don't piss them. Just
Well,
don't
that's
piss
actually-
them
that-
off, and
You cut out.
you'll be good.
Well,
Oh.
that also
Can
works
you
in
have-
the real life.
Can you have spurned lovers coming after you for revenge? Is that gonna happen?
Not that I know of, but I will make sure everyone will check it out before we actually ship.
That would be awesome. Just saying. As
Yeah.
just a dynamic in a game world, that'd be super fun. Or they come after your current significant other. Oh man. Okay. Yeah. That I don't that I mean, of course, I don't know why that excites me in a game world. I guess just because it would add that extra layer of realism, and all those layers of realism and all those layers of complexity. I know they add so much to the development time, but all of those layers of realism are just fascinating. Can't wait to just be in this game world, honestly. I mean, I'm looking forward to going through playing the story and doing the quests and stuff too, but I don't think I've ever been more excited to just be in a game world and explore around and just see what there is to do.
Agreed. I had a question. Is there?
It will be. Sorry.
No, go ahead. Go ahead.
It will be definitely a really nice and emotional journey for a lot of us, and it's like me personally, again, coming from background with no interest in cyberpunk at all, watching the game development and talking with everyone in the studio, like I had a chance to really bond with some people during E3. This makes this game really special, not just for us as a developers, but also for us as gamers. So I'm hoping that everyone will at least enjoy it.
Mm-hmm.
Mhm.
Are we gonna cry? Is this gonna be an emotional story?
It will be.
Perfect.
Okay, MadQueen, do you want to get the latest super chat question, because I don't want to ask that one specifically?
Yes, because I am always the one making the dick jokes. Thank you, Jose Perez. You're very generous. And his question is, will there be body mods specifically geared towards enhanced sexual performance in the game? So basically, is Mr. Stud and Midnight Lady going to give us some perks in game?
Um,
Dun, 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 dun.
Just-
I have no idea.
Well, I
think
mean, we know they are in game because we could see ads that were about the Mr. Stud and the Midnight Lady. So I think we can assume that this means that they are in the game.
I mean, the game is what we need to remember. It's something I've been talking with folks during E3 and with my team in Warsaw. We still think about Cyberpunk 2077 and the world in 2077 using 2019 brain, let's say, right? Our ability to think, and that's really wrong approach. We should think with 2077 mind, being in 2077 world. So in 2077, stuff like that are just normal. It's something that you just do. And sometimes in 2019 it's still either edgy or really bold, and that's why those things might be funny or not, but in the future in the game it will be just normal. Everyone will do it, and it's just as normal as eating bread.
Yes, well, the part that the misunderstood is something normal in the world is something that we can assume from the law. But yeah, perks. We want to know if it will give us perks.
And thanks for answering that other question. I was going to ask.
Wait. I
I
have another question. So can we? Okay, forget it. Go on.
I was just making a stupid joke. Just go ahead, Madqueen.
No, we had another question from the super chat, I believe. And it's not a
yes,
question,
there is.
Babylon. Thank you very much. He says, "We love you.
Hugely
We love you
generous,
too.
yeah.
You
We love you
are
too.
breathtaking."
Everyone is
breathtaking.
breathtaking.
Yeah, it's brilliant. So I think the couple of questions that keep popping up again. Dual pistols, we don't have a confirmation on that, and on the question of weather systems. Now, this is something that we've been interested before, and we've actually talked about before. Is anything you can share about the weather systems?
So when it comes to weather, it's pretty much nice cities in California, so you can expect Californian weather in the game. So I don't think it's snow over, but yeah,
Yes, but
it's pretty much.
Is
We'll
it going
have
to
it.
include the? Sorry. Please go on.
We'll have the proper weather system in the game, but it will be like typical to the regions of California.
So no acid rain, or
That was my question.
yeah,
We will see about that.
What about nuclear winter?
Well,
Right now
because we
it's,
have sorry.
It's a bit unclear at this point whether it will be or won't be acid rain in a game.
Brotech with another generous super chat. Thank you so much. When EA goes bankrupt, do you have a plan in place to help talented devs trapped there to see meaning in life again? Now, Lilayah, you don't have to answer this. But, you know what? We won't make you stick your neck out like that. But thank you, Brotech, for the question and the sentiment behind it.
Mm-hmm. Another question that's been asked a lot is in regards to drugs. Can we like smoke, drink, use drugs? Is there like maybe a toxicity system attached to that, similarly to The Witcher?
I won't say anything.
Okay.
Another
Tin, tin, tin,
mini
tin.
game, perhaps. Yes. Another question that does keep popping up is a question about dismemberment. I'm trying to find the one that keeps getting referred to, but I think just in general, is there anything new or different that we can share about the dismemberment? And it's such a weird thing to talk about. But yeah, thoughts on that, or any comments on that?
So it is possible, but you have to have more powerful weapons. So, for example, like really strong melee weapon or like really strong gun. It is possible. However, you will not be able to harvest like body implants from that enemy.
Not body
Yeah, well,
implants,
that's
but I guess we will be able to loot the body.
Yes, you will be able to loot the body, but like for example, if you see that someone had, I don't know, like cooler legs than you have, you won't be able to harvest them from the dead.
Was that a
Oh,
technical
that's a good
limitation,
point.
or is that a just to avoid imbalancing the game? Like, why is
It's a
that?
little combination of both.
I would say it's combination of both. I really don't know exact reason behind that, whether it was just a limitation or we just didn't want to make sure that someone might be overpowered, or just instead of installing proper cyberware, they just go rampage on everyone around you and harvest. Okay, I will just get this leg from this guy, arm from this guy, or like my liver from this guy.
Mm-hmm.
Well, there's
The-
also a low reason behind that, because to do
Mhm.
so, you need to have med tech skills. Not everybody is supposed to know how to remove a cyber leg from someone
Right. I mean, that makes
without
sense. I mean, if
without
you
damaging the leg,
you
obviously.
kill somebody in a firefight, you've probably damaged their cyberware anyway. But then, yeah, can you remove it properly without breaking it? Yeah. Another super chat from Lit. Thank you so much. This stream is breathtaking.
Awesome. If we have any more of these breathtaking things, I'm going to start worrying that some people are going to start getting asphyxiated. So building on that, then I guess we can basically confirm that we can't decorate our apartment with body parts of random people. Not that I would do that, mind you, because but so I'm sure somebody out there would be interested in just decorating their entire living quarters with just body parts.
I
Could
felt
help.
personally signaled on this one.
I mean, I wouldn't do it personally. I wouldn't just hang all the legs, arms, I don't know, eyes on my walls, but
What if
whatever
you
you guys into
What
it.
if you bring back a fine young lady? She's gonna see all those body parts and just dip out of there. Can't have that.
You
Yeah,
don't know.
well-
That might actually be interesting to some people, MadQueen.
That's the kind of thing modders are definitely going to add, though.
For sure.
Babylon, thank you very much. You are really, really generous, and we'd really appreciate that. Tell us something about yourself, life in Cyberpunk 2077, all of your influences. I'm sorry, I didn't understand the question. Can somebody?
You might have to
just-
rephrase that and drop it in the comments
I think,
again.
I think Barwalon is asking.
Is there anything in?
I think this is a
has
more
anything
personal question.
influenced
Yeah,
us?
a more personal question for Lilayah, asking about your life in working with Cyberpunk and some of your influences on that. If I've got that wrong, Barwalon, let us know in the chat. But yeah, tell us about that if you can, if you've understood the question.
So when it comes to me working with influencers, I really don't like that word because I don't know. I don't feel it's actually giving all the credit that everyone is doing with channels and art and.
I think they meant influences on you, not influencers. Yeah.
Oh, it's a difficult question actually. For sure, like it makes me open my mind a bit more than it used to be. Because again, I used to be like really fantasy person. So I spent 12 years playing World of Warcraft for for all it takes. So all those trolls, dwarves, and stuff got me into gaming quite a lot. But seeing Cyberpunk, how someone like Mike created that in 80s, how it could be in like 100 years, it's a huge challenge, and trying to be as open-minded as people living in 77 is a challenge. So I think that's something that influenced me the most, to keep in mind that what I think right now will be totally different in the future.
So
How did you get into the position you're in with CD Projekt? Like, what sort of what were you doing before you joined CD Projekt, and how did you get into where you're at now with your current job?
So I've been usually like in the past. I'm 32, so I've been working for a good while now. Pretty much just after I finished my high school. I used to work in retail most of the time, yeah, and it always was around gaming. So like in game stores or dealing with pretty much just gaming or general entertainment departments. And I play WoW, I met one of my greatest friends, Grzesiek Sadziński, who was working in CDPR. And I always wanted to work in Blizzard. So I was trying to get in there. I applied a few times. I've heard no several times as well. Sometimes after like 6 months, 9 months. And after the third time when I heard no, I was like pretty upset that, I'm just not good enough for the industry. And then my friend Grzesiek came to me like I think 2-3 days later, saying, hey, we need people to support team in CDPR. And I was like, nah, that will just not happen. They will not accept me because I don't have experience in working in game development business. And he was like, no, like, if not you, then who? And I was like, nah, I just don't want to be upset again. And he was nagging me for like a month or so, asking almost every day, did you send your CV? Did you send your CV? I was like, just shut up. I would just do it. And I got in like month later. I was accepting the offer from CDPR, and here I am. And it was a hell of a journey because like I'm also not from Warsaw, so I had to move here. I had to leave all my friends behind, and even though it's not that far away, because I lived in a city that's like 2 hours by train away from Warsaw. So for the beginning of my career there, I was actually traveling every day for 2 hours by train, waking up at 4 a.m. in the morning and then coming back and pretty much going back to sleep. And I'm super grateful that Grzesiek actually managed to convince me to try and to give this one more chance to pretty much to myself to, be where I am right now.
That is fantastic. That's a fantastic story. I love it.
So, if you want to be actually in a gaming studio like CDPR or any other studio, don't give up and always play games, because games can actually do a lot. I've learned a lot of things in WoW that actually helped me to be where I am.
Yeah, and I gotta say, it's probably at the current situation, it's probably the better choice of the two. I would say no major hate against Blizzard, especially a little bit against Activision, but just generally speaking, I think it's probably a bit of a better choice. You probably can't comment on that, but
Yes, you may feel sad in the past that you didn't make it into Blizzard, but I hope that you're happy now that they didn't happen. By the way, I don't know if you're reading the comments, but you are getting an insane amount of love in them. They are asking where can they petition that you are a character in the game, and they are telling that you are a perfect woman, which I agree, and a lot of other compliments sent your way.
I mean, what's really cool in CDPR, everyone is a gamer. So everyone had like different background before joining the company, and this is what I love about my team the most, that we spend a lot of time together, either at work or after work. We just we go out bowling, we go out to karaoke, we play games together. And during those moments we forget that we are co-workers, because we are friends and we are gaming friends. So if you actually want to be a part of something cool like that, always make sure that you have friends, gamers around you, and everyone will be amazing. And that's why, again, I love my team. So big shout out to the whole community team from CDPR. I hope someone is watching. If not, I will make you watch it again. But yeah, it's everyone in the entire studio is really amazing, and it's just pleasure to work with those.
Well, we are not done with the compliments because Jose Perez, thank you very much. You're very generous. We appreciate your support. And he has a message for you to Lilayah. I have a lot of respect for you and the rest of the company. Keep up the amazing work. It's been noticed and appreciated across the world.
Oh, that was a
Thank
nice
you.
one.
Yeah, especially I our podcast featured this yesterday was that it's been a rough past few years. We've had some of our best and most favorite games kind of do some really really dumb choices, and we see a continuing pull from some companies to just say, we don't care about what the players think anymore. We just care about what a profit line or margin is, and they don't. I don't think they understand that when you actually listen to gamers, you do get both of those. There's a way that you can balance both of those, obviously, because it's what most of the companies did to get to their current positions, and it's what you guys are doing right now. And I've got to say, just from our perspective, we're really proud to have this kind of a game showing up, because this is something that is finally moving the goalpost, so to speak, as far as that goes, and we're really thankful for that in general. So I want to parrot his point there with the donation, because it is something that it makes us, we're finally glad that there's a company that is doing the right thing, and we appreciate it more than anything. And seriously, get more special editions, because they sold out way too fast, and we need more of them.
Yeah, it feels really good supporting CD Projekt Red, just based off of everything that they've done in the past. So it's good for us as well. On the flip side, we feel pride in representing you guys to a certain degree, and talking with you guys, and looking forward to supporting the game and the studio, because they deserve it.
We
Yes,
wouldn't be here if not our community and their feedback, and we want to make games for you, not for us. And if you're not happy with what you play, that means that we did something wrong, and it's not right.
And we love that. It's a good feeling.
And we also expect that this game is incredibly successful, also for very selfish reasons, because we want more games from you, and also because this may give an example to other developers in this industry about how to do works, how important it is to listen to the community, how much the community respects and supports developers that have fair practices, and all this stuff that I believe that giving a good example that is big, that has the backup of a successful game, it's an important thing to see in this industry.
Absolutely. Did we have any more questions in the?
Yes, we do. This one popped up several times. Are we going to space?
Ooh.
For sure not in 77.
In 77, we're not going to space.
No, in the Cyberpunk 2077 for sure. Or maybe, I don't know. Perhaps, possibly.
That was a really
okay.
nice
We can jump to the next question if you want, because it seems that this one is a little bit not answerable. Well, the other question that popped up several times is about fast travel. How is fast travel going to work? Because we were mentioned that in the gameplay at E3 that there was going to be fast travel.
Yes, there will be fast travel, and this is the only moment that we have the loading screens. Apart from that, there's no loading screens in the game.
And how does it
fast
work?
Travel is worth it. It's worth a loading screen to be able to fast travel for sure.
But how is it going to work? Paul, with a taxi, with the metro?
It's actually not like with like a taxi or with a metro. We are still polishing the details, so I cannot give you like 100% confirmed the way. It's pretty much the last thing you see. It will be like the beginning of the fast travel, and it will move you to the direction of the place that you want. You will see like images and like some nice stuff. But how exactly it will work, you just have to wait till maybe
Well,
not the release itself, but maybe we'll be able to talk about that in the future.
But it's going to be a loading screen like your typical loading screen, or a loading screen in the sense of what they did in, for instance, God of War, where you had an activity to do while the screen was loading, so you didn't get bored waiting.
I don't know if there will be any activity yet. All I know is that there will be some scenes that you will be able to see. And those will be like really nice. We didn't try that before in The Witcher. So when I've seen like the first version, like really, really deep work in progress, they were like super, super nice.
What presence do like kind of animals have in the game? I think previously it was mentioned there was only like cats and dogs, but in some of the latest concept art we see a woman like with a jaguar or a cheetah of some sort. Are NPCs gonna have animals, or is there gonna be a bunch of animals, or just those cats and dogs and stuff like that?
So all I can say right now is that the Night City will feature some of the degree of the night of the animal life, like street cats, street dogs. But when it comes to having your personal like cheetah and or like any other animal, it's still unclear at this point, but most likely not happening.
Yeah, people were also asking about just going way back to the chip and in. The 2018 version is not going to be included in 2077. You guys have defaulted to the 2019 version, correct?
Correct. We were not really fully happy with 2018 version of chipping in, and because of the direction of the music, is now really clear and evolved. We want whatever we release, we want to be 100% happy with this, and with this current version of chipping in, we're 100% happy.
Yeah.
And it will be released at some point. Maybe before the release, maybe after, but 2018 version definitely will not.
Fair enough. So were there any ideas that were kind of scrapped in the developmental process that was kind of like 50-50, like half the team wanted it and half the team didn't, that was like kind of dividing the team on if they should have kept it or kept it in the game, or is were most of the decisions pretty cut and dry when it comes to scrapping things?
I mean, gaming development is really creative work. So, there will be always someone that is either not happy entirely or just happy 50-50 with something, or 100% happy. So, again, development is a constant big change for
It's
everyone.
iterative.
Yes, so for me, something that was scrapped, for example, I really like the idea of the childhood heroes, and I know some people didn't like it at all because it was just another fluff that we could develop into something meaningful. And what we have right now with the free path of your lifehood, that's actually really good change from my perspective. I guess gamers will decide by themselves if that was a good change, if they actually like it. So again, like, we're not afraid of changing things, but there always is someone that doesn't like this or likes entirely.
Some super chats to quickly get to here before we.
Oh yes, please, yeah.
Danish, Zanagos XO says, mad respect for all of CDPR. You're our hopes and dreams for the industry. May your example be a shining beacon to everyone else in the industry.
Amen.
So,
thank you.
Shining compliment there. Brotech says, when is Baldur's Gate 3 coming out? CEO of Larian Studios says, when it's ready. Me. Thanks, CDPR. And then our Russian friend again. Why do Arasaka troopers use Kang Tao assault rifles?
So when it comes to weapons, in general, we have an entire communication planned about why this weapon is here, or why this weapon looks like this right now in 77, but for example in 2020 it looked like this. We'll be covering that in the future, so make sure to keep an eye on our channel, because those things will be explained, but I cannot do it right now.
And then this is, I think, quite possibly one of the most important questions that I have for the entire experience of this game. Can we become cat people, or specifically, can we become cat girls in the game?
Exotics.
So exotics, that's something I cannot really comment on just yet.
Oh, I was expecting a hard no, so that's interesting. Okay. This is moving in the right direction. All right, cool. So, interesting. Will we be able to nuke Night City?
Why would you do that?
I know. This is a very confusing thing. I don't know why anybody would.
Because there's a second mini nuke nobody knows about.
Well, there's
in the law of Cyberpunk
in
Red.
Yeah.
In the law of Cyberpunk Red, there's the mini nuke that exploded in that tower, and there is a second mini nuke whereabouts unknown. And this is in Cyberpunk Red. I mean, it's not been explained if this would go to the video game.
Well, I'm confused. Doesn't everybody keep a pocket nuke on them?
Sorry, that's me. There's a Spanish festivity going on, St. John.
I like how you said nuke, and then there was an explosion in the background of MadQueen's audio feed. That was perfect timing. Hats off to that. Hats off to that guy.
Why do you think I asked the question at that exact moment?
That was ridiculous.
Yes. It's St. John, and everybody's throwing fireworks around me. So I'm going to be silent for the most part from now on, because now it's the time for the fireworks to start.
What are the chances of that? That's incredible.
Sorry?
I said, what are the chances of that? That was incredible. Did that really happen?
Yes, that's exactly when we discussed the nuke.
Wow.
Again, Neon, you don't know me yet. Clearly, you don't know me well enough yet.
Oof,
I'm going to do my best job at translating this Polish statement. I believe it says he just wants to say I love you, and that he doesn't actually enjoy saying greetings, but he also believes that Cyberpunk 2077 will be the number one game of this generation. And that is not a question; that is a statement from him. So,
nice.
How does anybody speak Polish? Did that more or less?
I mean, but yeah, thank you very much for all the kind words that comes to everyone. When it comes to the game being game of the generation, we will let you guys decide if it will be. If not, it is like huge challenge for us. We are super excited, and it's amazing to work on this project and this title. So we will make sure that we give 100% from each other to make this happen. But it's you guys who decide if it's game of the generation or not.
There was another super chat in here. James Thomas asks, how will the NPCs be improved compared to The Witcher 3?
That would actually require some of the devs to talk about that, because I'm not a dev myself, so it's hard for me to say what they exactly changed. But that would be question more to like either Pavel, Sasko, or Miles to answer.
Sure.
We will try and get them in here sometime in the next few months. Lit also makes and Lit, I see what you did here. Besides, he can't wait for the game. Can't wait for his 2077 statuette standing in his living room because it would look lit. Aha, I see what you did there. So that's pretty good. Is there any strip clubs in the game? This has been asked numerous times, so I'm finally gonna break down and ask it. So, strip clubs? Yes, no, maybe so.
So there are clubs in Night City. I don't know if there will be like any strip club. I hope so. I mean, I would like to see one, at least one. but there will be a specific area, I would say close to strip club. But this is like huge part of the story itself, and again, no spoilers. But it might give you a feel of a strip club.
Interesting. Which brings me to another quick question, and I don't know if you can confirm it yet, but there's been a piece of art that has been sitting around on the internet forever that appeared on the desktop computer, on basically the only computer that was on inside the CDPR Google Maps tour that was created. Can we confirm whether or not that is officially tied to an artist that was hired by CDPR, or because it's never been answered a yes no. It's actually of the girl in the strip club, standing there on the stage with all the soldiers pointing guns at her. Can we get a confirmation? Is that possible? Whether that was actually...
It's not official wallpaper. It's not official artwork. It's I think we used to work with the creator of that art. I always forget the name, so my apologies. I can dig into that later, because like we obviously work with some like I would say outside of companies for the game. We used to do that with Witcher. We do that with Cyberpunk. But from what I know, that person wasn't hired as a CDPR member. So it was just, yes, Maciej Kuchara, exactly. It was more like a fan art kind of wallpaper. I used to have that wallpaper on my own computer for like quite a long time because it was like really nice.
It was. It's been one of the top like images that you see whenever you type in Cyberpunk for the past 4 years. It's been one of the top searches almost all of the time. So okay, so that's good to know. Good to know.
How did you guys approach? I think Deathburger is the one making the steel books. They have art for some of the steel books for the pre-orders for Cyberpunk 2077. How did that kind of relationship come about? Did you guys approach him, or he approached you, or you guys were a fan of his work or something?
Well, it's always like that when it comes to our ideas. Sometimes someone just drops, how about we do something with this and this person, and then there's one brave person in like other department that sends the email, and this is how the magic happens.
That's awesome.
I don't know details about this particular cooperation, but I would assume it started with exactly same joke. Like, that would be so cool that if this guy would make art for our steelbooks.
That's
and
awesome.
It just happened.
You guys are always constantly looking out there for things that you can maybe latch onto and involve into your project. That's awesome. I love that.
Another quick question. This was actually been again something that's been commonly asked here, but we've got it in a super chat question now. So, do the characters in Cyberpunk still get? Will characters still be nude, or is it considered too spicy for the public? And I think we've had a couple of people throwing out the idea, the game's going to be censored. It's not going to have feature full nudity when the game launches. You could probably put that to bed, right?
So the character creation from the previous demo is actually no longer in the demo and in the game. It's a bit different right now. So it just looks differently right now. I guess you just have to wait.
Excuse me, am I going crazy, or
no? There's someone talking
in Polish.
Yes, there's somebody speaking Polish in the room that she's in.
Oh, I was like, I'm hearing voices.
You're not going crazy. So okay, so that it's just slightly different, but that is not, obviously that's not stating that full nudity has been removed from the game.
No, of course it's not.
Yes, because again, it's something that we've, it's one of those rumors where it's like, again, we have like actionable and verifiable intelligence on some of this stuff sometimes, and it's like no, we're pretty sure it's still in there, but people will ask, but this has changed, and so some people get kind of freaked out by that. But
I think in the character creator they were in their underwear, or if I recall correctly, for the E3 2019 demo instead of the censored kind of blurbs over the.
I haven't seen the long demo actually. I only
Oh,
seen
okay.
the version that we were showing on the public booth.
Right.
It didn't. You obviously had like a mirror, and you've seen well your character in it, and it was actually wearing already clothes. But we will see how it will be presenting during Gamescom and PAX.
Yeah, I think that was
and
the.
I'm sorry.
Sorry, go ahead. I was just gonna. Yeah, go ahead.
We are still getting tons of questions about the apartments, and I think we just to again kind of put that one quickly to rest. We've already confirmed that I think it's just the one apartment, and that's probably due to some tech issues with that. So I think that's nothing's changed on that, right? It's still just the one apartment building.
Yes, just one apartment and no customization in your apartment.
Mm-hmm.
The only thing we added to that is that you will have your garage that you can keep your cars and vehicles.
Apparently, this was another quick issue, which honestly would be really funny if you guys found a way to deal with it. And you probably are not going to be able to comment on this, but apparently, and Super Chat did bring this up, that the U.S. collector's editions were bought out and basically are being just flipped on eBay right now by scalpers. Are you guys going to be looking at increasing the number of collector's editions that will be sent out or available to pre-order?
We've seen all those comments either on our Twitter or Facebook or even in direct messages. I cannot promise anything, but we will for sure report that to our distributor that what happened, and maybe we will be able to do something with this. But it's really really long term shot if it's actually something we can do about that, because I know there is a lot of interest in getting the collector's edition, and I know it sucks that you guys just couldn't get your hands on those, and there goes my apology that we could just make it happen better, but I'm sure we'll definitely ask what's happening, and if there will be something we can do, we'll definitely do it. But at this moment, we just need to make sure that we will talk with distributor first, and then decide what's the next step.
Mm-hmm. Okay, yeah. Because again, it's like it's kind of a weird situation in that every company has this difficulty, and if like there's no way to like really fix this because people just come up with solutions to work around the problem. So it is a difficult issue, and unfortunately, it does it does cause problems as far as like general people. But I would encourage the community to not. That's not CDPR's fault. There's only so much you can do to kind of fight back against that thing. If somebody's really intent on buying 500 copies, as quickly as possible, they're going to find ways to do that. Mm-hmm. And there's very little that you can actually do. Just a quick question on the outfits. I've seen this question come out a fair bit. There is more character customization and clothing options than basically what we've seen in the content so far. It's probably just the fact that you guys have been wanting to kind of highlight that iconic jacket, but V can probably throw on a different jacket when she's leaving the apartment at some point later into the game, correct?
I mean, you will be able to switch jackets, during the game. But what also is a bit different, that when you start the game and if you pick your life path, The clothing, the initial clothing that comes with the life pad will be also different. So you'll look different as a corpo, you will look different as a street kid or a nomad. So there will be like the small changes at the very beginning of the game. But obviously you will be able to switch your clothing, like for example, jacket during.
Well, I'm hearing here a question that finally finally they formulated it as a question because I've read the comment many times, but I didn't hear the actual question. So shortly ago, Martin announced the new creation character in Cyberpunk 2077 that was going to be non-binary. And they are asking in the question is if obviously NPCs and people in the world is going to refer to V with no non-binary pronouns if we decide to create a character that is not non-binary.
Well, so we are still writing all the dialogues, so that's something we are for sure looking into it. But the main, I would say, I don't know, name title, you will be called V, and V is works perfectly for everything.
Yes, but for instance, Dex calls a moment when you are V woman, he says V my girl, and when it's V male, V my man.
Miss V.
Yeah, those are things that we are still, working internally how we want to approach this. But this is something definitely on our radar. And again, we are still writing the dialogues. We are not done with those. So things might be added, might be changed, might be scrapped. We'll see how it turns out.
This is very interesting because, well, obviously in an RPG, having more options is always better than having less, as I said before regarding guns.
What about difficulty options? Is there a wide range of difficulty options? Maybe more than The Witcher 3 or similar to The Witcher 3 in that sense?
Well, there will be difficult options. I don't know how many because we are not done with making actual game yet, so we cannot, because like those difficult levels are done pretty much at the end of the development. So
Sure.
we just adjust the numbers, and right now we just need to make sure that those numbers as it is work, and then based on that we'll make it few levels may be harder, few levels may be a bit easier for someone to just wants to enjoy the game and know a challenge or anything, and for someone who wants to be like diehard fan and play Dark Souls kind of level game.
So, did we have any outstanding questions in the chat? We've been going for quite a while at this point, 111 minutes.
We've got a really important one. Who's your favorite character in The Witcher?
My favorite character in The Witcher, Yennefer.
Yeah, I was gonna say the same thing.
I'm 100% Team Yen. Person. Sorry, Tris fans.
Another question that has been popping up every now and then, and now again, in the new trailer, Jackie dies. Is this something that is mandatory, or we can say Jackie is something that happens because of a decision?
I will not spoil the thing.
I didn't think we'd get an answer for that one.
Lid, thank you very much for your support. The question is, can we surrender to the police and go to prison if we get a wanted level? Can we get a wanted level? First question.
So if you have in mind like wanted level as GTA wanted or Assassin's Creed wanted, there will be I would say it won't be like a proper wanted level that you have to like give in and like go to prison, because we won't have things like that. You will just pretty much be but there will be a chance that, you know, after you go a bit ballsy in a city, you will be on the radar of the police or gangs, and you will be. So when you actually see that, you know, you are not really wanted, as in terms, just don't be around. You know, you just need to lay low for a moment, and then things should go back to normal.
How many gangs are not a specific number, but each district has kind of an overarching gang, and then there's like sub gangs in those districts, or how is that gonna work?
There is quite few gangs in Night City. There are like 6 different districts, and each district has its own gang.
Mm-hmm.
But there are also like sub gangs. I cannot give you exact numbers
Right.
just yet, because like I also don't want you, again, I don't want to spoil the story, because some of those gangs will actually play really huge part in the story, like for example, like Voodoo Boys that we mentioned already, or Animals. We've mentioned Tiger Claws.
Right.
But yeah, more details for sure to come.
Okay. Awesome. Questions in the chat? Lilayah, best game in 2019. What was your favorite game in 2019? I guess 2019 just kind of started, so I guess last year then? What are you playing these
Last
days?
year, my game of the year last year was definitely God of War. In 2019, I didn't really have a GOTY yet. I really enjoyed playing Plague's Tale for a bit. That I actually managed to. And I'm actually looking forward more to 2020 and games that will be released in 2020. Not
Other-
just because of Cyberpunk, but
That's a big reason, though.
There's another question that's been also popping up in the comments. People are asking about the field of view, sliders for field of view, and other options to be able to customize your experience when playing the game.
So when it comes to VOV, it will be adjustable for PC. I have no information about consoles just yet, how we'll manage to do that. And players will be also be able to disable head bobbing, so like the swaying screen.
Yes.
And motion blur.
Just made
Yes.
I know
MadQueen's
it's
life.
like I said that last year, and then like pretty much everyone from my team said exactly same thing to everyone who approached us about the motion sickness issues related to FP. And we didn't lie that we actually, you know, take it seriously, that, you know, we want to reach to as many gamers as possible, and we know about you guys that have, you know, problems with FPP. So we gathered your feedback. We gathered a lot of information in general from, you know, other games that, you know, managed to do that and then fight with this issue. So we convinced devs to do that. They actually seen the problem with that as well. So it was really nice cooperation that we managed to work around that.
Awesome. So, any more questions that we have? We've been bombarding you with questions for the
Well,
last.
there's one question that I find especially funny. Is a detail. Barbers in Cyberpunk. Are you going to be able to customize your look inside the game? I mean, obviously at the beginning when you create your character, you will, but inside the game, are you going to have NPCs that will help you with recustomizing, like bioscoped, like barbers, like all this stuff?
It's a bit too early to say at this point.
Ooh. Okay, interesting.
I hope so. Like I spent quite a lot of time doing transmog in World of Warcraft, so I would be disappointed if I couldn't do it in Cyberpunk.
Yeah, it's one of my most consumed activities in WoW. Is constantly changing outfits. So okay, all right. So that's pretty good to know.
Are you guys talking about like are there any ideas like maybe floating around in the studio when it comes to expansions, or you get that's a little bit preemptive and you guys are focused obviously on the single player narrative story of Cyberpunk 2077?
Well, right now we want to make sure that we are 100% happy with Cyberpunk 2077, and when it comes to DLCs or expansions in the future, we'll see. Like if there will be time for that, and I mean, obviously there is a need for this. We'll for sure look into it, but for now, just the main game is the main focus.
For sure. That makes sense.
There's another question that people are asking, and to be honest, I'm also very curious myself about the clubs in the game and about the live music in the game, because we know that we're going to have a radio where we're going to be able to switch the music that we want to listen to. But how about clubs and live music?
It's a bit too early to say when it comes to like clubs. I mean, we obviously will have clubs. We'll have Afterlife. We'll have Below the Deck that was already introduced before. But when it comes to like live music, we'll
Did I lose everybody?
Yeah, you see,
I was
worried
scared as
about
well.
that too. I was like, I'm sure it's just buffering. So yeah, so lots of like different types of music and live music. What about shock jocks and or talk radio? Are we going to get any of that? Because that's actually really big in the States. Whereas it's not. I mean, the both shock jocks and talk radio is something that doesn't really happen in Europe at all. So I'm curious if the team has looked into any of that. It would of course be like probably really interesting. Trying to write for that at the very least would be very, very confusing. So, but any thoughts on that?
I mean, we obviously did research on various radio stations. We have several ideas for the radio, but in what shape or form it will be actually in the game, it's not time to tell.
Okay, I kind of figured that. I would, man, having a shock jock would be hilarious. But I think having like a talk radio, I mean, there's so many different things that you could play with in that scale of things too. It's like, or just like sportscast or something like that, where you just tune in and listen to somebody rail about the latest like sports game or the recent fights or something like that. That would be really, really funny. But all right, so I do have another quick question. Out of the current day, various operations that you could do to get a cybernetic component that is not a normal like body swap thing, so something that's like extra sensory. Do you know anything off the top of your head that you might actually be willing to try?
No, nothing. Nothing on top of my head. I would have to actually check with the depth. But we can do a follow up on that if you guys want.
Sure.
Okay, chat is going absolutely crazy. They need to know this about this game. So I hope you can answer this question, Lilayah. Can you sit on chairs?
Holy shit! I don't know. I haven't seen V sitting on a chair yet. I've seen her going to the bathtub, but not sitting on a chair.
That's top secret. Hello, come on.
Well, talking about top secret, obviously this question needs to be made because every time that the product makes some kind of announcement about the financials, they always have the same question, and Kaczynski always answers in the most ambiguous way. What happens with the online, with the Cyberpunk online and the multiplayer features? Any news on that you can share with us?
Good question.
So yeah, like we get those questions on daily basis, I'd say. I know there is a interest in multiplayer or like any online aspects. We are doing research and development on that, but Cyberpunk 2077 is for sure for the launch a pure single player campaign. If, and that's a big if, there will be any online components to the game, it would happen after the release, but again, it's like really, really big if.
And talking about after the release, do you have any plans to adapt the game to the new generation of consoles? Because the Scarlet and the PlayStation 5 seem to be.
We'll see. Like right now, we are fully focused on current generations, and because we don't know anything about the new gen, it's pretty much we know exactly the same things as you guys. So if there will be new generation, and if we'll be able to make it happen, then I guess we will try. But yeah, right now it's just a PC with Windows and PlayStation 4 and Xbox One.
And talking about PC, have you released the system requirements for the game?
Not yet. Those will most likely happen at the beginning of 2020, the earliest, when we are actually done with development.
Also, a lot of people have been asking about the North American merch store. Is there like a ETA on that, or is that sometime soon, or are you guys
It's
focusing
happening very soon.
very soon?
When
Okay.
it's ready.
When it's like everything, when it's ready. Perfect.
I mean, it's not happening in like a year, right? That would be soon, but like it's actually happening very soon. We want to be in US as soon as possible, and we do a lot what we can to be there as soon as possible.
Awesome. So, any outstanding questions in the chat that people are really itching to get answered? Let's check.
I believe there was a super chat.
Yeah, I asked the question of the super chat because it wasn't a super chat, it disappeared, and then he addressed the question to me. Was the question about the next generations?
Oh, I thought there was another question just asking about if Lilayah can tell us if anything else she's allowed to tell us that we haven't asked about yet, but that you'd be interested in telling us.
Good question.
That's a good question, but I have to be really honest. I haven't read or watched all the interviews yet with my team during E3. I'm still catching up on that, so I don't know what they answered. Maybe there is something they already did, and I would like to say, but I don't know. Like it's for me personally, just try to be open-minded when it comes to Cyberpunk 2077 when you actually will be playing the game, because it's going to be an amazing journey, and it's going to be really emotional as well.
Did you play the demo yourself?
I played the demo from last year. I haven't played this one yet.
Oh.
I hate you.
We're all
out
jealous.
of pure jealousy.
I mean, this is the part of the job, right? You actually, because we want to make sure that we know what we talk about with the community. We play the game. Like we play the game either before such event like E3, Gamescom, and whatnot, or before E3, like before the release. Like during my early days, for the very first 2-3 months, I was actually playing Witcher 3 every day. To the point that the quest names weren't really quest names; they were just like code names. And when I was talking with like our QA department, when I actually had a bug or a blocker, I was, saying like, oh, I have this and this bug in this and this quest, and QA was coming back to me. So it was like Q104. I'm like, what is Q104? And that's exactly like, because at some point you just switch to code names, not like actual names of the quests. So yeah, we spent a good fair amount of time playing the game, talking with devs, asking a lot of questions, pretty much bothering people around, because we just want to know what you guys want.
Hey, Will.
There is
And
another question.
that is
Sorry.
playing the game.
What was that? I missed that. Sorry.
There was another question in the chat that I don't know if you will be able to answer. Obviously, the game is not finished yet, but more or less, how many hours does it take to get 100% completion on Cyberpunk 2077?
It's not counted yet. Like obviously some quests might take longer, some quests might take shorter. It also depends from your playstyle and from the choices you make. So this probably like the counting hours will happen once we are like completely done with the development and we actually do play the game from the beginning to the end, not skipping stuff or like skipping some stuff, just pretty much regular gamer kind of path.
You guys have like an achievement list or like a tentative achievement list that you guys have created for
Not
the
yet.
game? Not yet. That comes later on.
That's usually done when development is over.
Right.
Well, I am sure that you are aware that there is this petition online to request you to call the achievement of the 100% completion that you are breathtaking. The breathtaking achievement. Did you look into this?
Yeah, we've seen that petition. And we had discussions about that, but how it will turns out, we just need to wait and see.
I stand by that.
Thank you,
petition.
Bullfin. That's it's very generous of you. We love your support. The question is, what is the Cyberpunk 2020 source book that comes with the base game? Is that the base rulebook or the original source book?
It's the original source book that you can buy from Talsarian Crew, but in a digital form. So pretty much, yeah, and it comes. I think. I hope I'm not mistaken. It will come localized to your region language. So for example, it will be in German. It will be in German. In Poland, it will be Polish, and so on.
There's another question that popped several times, one of them in a super chat that we didn't answer. Can you elaborate about your cooperation with Microsoft, and do you have info about streaming Cyberpunk 2077 integration on Microsoft system? Well, I believe that this cooperation was announced for GOG, right? Which is a separate company.
It's something that I really cannot talk about because I don't have this kind of information. How this collaboration exactly is based on, and same goes with GOG stuff. It would actually have to be questioned to someone from GOG stuff.
And another question that, well, I think we of this question because it was asked several times the day that we had Jake Ray from Talsorian Games about more translations on Cyberpunk 2020 books. Please consider that the translations of the books are not made by Talsorian Games, but by the companies that license the content to countries. So if you want the game to be translated to a specific language in a specific country, what you need to do is contact any kind of company that distributes books in your localized language and ask them to bring Cyberpunk to your country.
So are you guys, when it comes to like maybe in the future Gamescom, are you guys gonna have like a similarly big presence at Gamescom as you did with E3, or is it kind of just maybe a follow up to show the demo again? And what, speaking on the demo, what have you guys kind of tweaked since E3 2019 when it comes to that demo that is gonna be reflected? I guess that's kind of spoilery, but what can you say about that?
So when it comes to Gamescom, I mean, we are still in talks. We will obviously be at Gamescom with similar presence that during E3. So there will be business booth, there will be public booth. If there will be any tweaks to demo, we'll have to wait and see. But we don't have information about those yet. All I know is that we will be at Gamescom. My bad.
Okay. Well, we're looking forward to
People in
that.
the chat are asking if you can please say hello to the Polish viewers of this stream.
I wanted to do it at the very end, but yeah. Hello, my one of my favorite communities, like Polish community. I know they've been watching because I've got several messages, like direct messages, that they're here with me, and I know my guild from work is also here, or someone. So yes, hello everybody, and super nice to have you with us in here.
Yeah, shout out to them. Shout out to the guild and our fellow Poles.
Shout out to the guild, and also shout out to my moderators from Discord and from forums. They're doing tremendous job overall, and E3 was super stressful for them as well. So yeah, big shout out and big thank you for being you.
Yeah, I can imagine they didn't get much sleep during E3. I remember being in Discord and everybody was up on 2 hours of sleep. So you guys are doing some incredible things, obviously. And yeah, it's awesome. It's awesome. Did we have any outstanding questions before we maybe wrap it up here? Anybody have some questions?
Well, everybody's happy commenting hello and a lot of hearts. And some things in Polish I cannot understand because I can't read Polish.
I should say stuff in Polish. Także sorry for Polish to everyone who doesn't speak Polish. Także siema wszystkim i fajnie, że jesteście z nami. Mam nadzieję, że dalej z nami będziecie.
Agreed.
Polish
Yeah, totally.
is a fine sounding language, I must say.
It is. It really is. Cool. So maybe we'll take the opportunity to wrap this up here. We've been going for 2 hours. We've been peppering you with questions for about an hour and 45 minutes here. So,
do you have any questions for any of us? There's
oh, there you go. That's a good one.
Maybe not a question, but just a few words. Like, just keep doing what you guys do, and your work is amazing, and we all love you here in CDPR. So just stay amazing, and thank you so much for your support and for being with us, because without you we wouldn't be where we are right now, and that goes to everyone.
Awesome. No, that means a lot to us, and we'll keep going forward if you do, and we'll follow you guys till the end. So it's been awesome having you. Yeah. This has been great, super informative. We've gotten a lot of answers here. Big shout out to Lilayah for coming onto the podcast today. We've been wanting her to be on here for some time now, and we have some pretty cool guests in the future, so stick around for that. Whose channel is the next podcast on? Is it?
I believe
Triple S, I believe.
Last Known.
Oh, it's Last Known. Yes,
LastKnownMeal. Okay, yeah. So he wasn't here today. Shout out to Last Known as well. And thank you guys so much for all the super chats, for all the interaction. This has been one of our bigger streams, and it's been awesome. So we'll see you guys next time. And did anyone have any departing thoughts?
You're breathtaking.
There we go. We'll end it on that one.
She speaks for all of us.
Peace out, guys.
Take care. Bye.